Today, I'm going to show you how to set up your very own jam space. If you're in a band or by yourself and you need a spot to practice in, I will give you my best advice on how to set up a jam space just like this one. Roll the intro, let's do this. Hey everybody, it's Pat Flanigan and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, you're not sure what I do, I make all sorts of fun videos around creating music, such as tips, tricks, tutorials, how-tos, my input from being in bands for more than 15 years, including how to set up your own jam space. So if that's something you're into, you might want to click the subscribe button, and if you want to get notified every time I upload, you can click the bell. There's a new video every single week. So I've been practicing at least once a week with different bands ever since I was probably 13 or 14 years old. I started in my mom's basement, and then to another bandmate's parents' basement, and then another bandmate's dad's huge garage. Shout out to Bob, by the way, thanks for all those years in the garage. Then to a bona fide jam space, then here for a couple years right next door to another place, and then finally to land back here where I currently am. At this point, I call this place my second home. I'm here at least 2 or 3 times a week whenever I can, and well, I'm not planning on going anywhere else, at least until I buy a house and build my own studio. This is my jam space. But what constitutes a jam space? What is the jam space? A jam space, a jam spot, a rehearsal space, rehearsal spot, whatever you want to call it, is just a place where you and or your band can make noise. And I'm talking show levels of decibels. It's a place where you and or your band can practice. I call it a jam space. To be honest, you don't need much to practice with your band, but if you want a place like this, a dedicated spot, you're gonna have to figure out a few things. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. I want to give you my best tips, my best insight in terms of finding the perfect spot for you, and once you've found it, how to optimize it in order to make it a functional rehearsal space. So if you need a jam space, there's several different options for you. You could find a place that rents by the hour, that rents maybe short term, or like I do, that rents month by month, and then you can customize it and make it your own. In my opinion, that's the best way to go, but that might not suit your particular situation. Before I share some of the tips I have with you, I want to tell you a little bit more about this place in particular. So there are 5 people who share this jam space, but there are no actual bands that practice here, at least not anymore. When I initially got this place in April of 2018, I got it for Horse Dog. This was our jam spot where we jammed at least once a week, where we built our live show, but since then the band has pretty much gone on indefinite hiatus. That sucks, but instead of relinquishing the place, I didn't give the place up, I decided to keep it, and I found 4 musician friends of mine who wanted the same thing from a place like this. And that's a place where you can practice, jam, write, record, audition people, start a band, whatever you need, you name it, this place can handle it. So how do you go from your mom's basement to a place like this? Well, first of all, you should find the right place. Do your research and try to find the best place that suits your needs. The thing is, only you know your specific needs. For example, I can't play drums or actually play music very loud in my place. That's why my drum set is right here. I also need a place where I can shoot videos, record the occasional podcast, and make demos, and in the future, full albums. That's why I need a place like this. This might not be what you need, this might be overkill for what you need, but do a search in your area and find spots that would suit your needs. Whether it's month to month, short term, long term, a pre-production studio, whatever it is, determine your needs and then find a place that suits those needs. Okay, another really important thing that you need to find is the right people. Chances are you're not going to be able to afford a jam space on your own. I can't pay for this place on my own, and that's why I share it with 4 other people. That's just one of the realities of having to rent a place. I'm lucky because I've always shared my jam space with people I trust. Every band or every person I've shared a jam space with, I know well, I trust, they're good guys or girls, they're good musicians, they're people in the community that I've known for a long time, and I think you should do your best to find the same kind of people. Now that you have found the spot and the right people to share it with, you need to get some boring administrative French-Canadian problems. Once you've found the right spot and the right people to share it with, you need to get some boring stuff out of the way. Get all the guys and or girls together and get everyone together either in person or on a Facebook group or something like that and figure out jam times and set some rules. What I mean by that is that you should, for example, determine if you share a drum set or the bass amp amp maybe, what gear is out of bounds, what gear is available if somebody needs it. You should communicate with the other people in the jam space and set those rules so that your jam space stays a fun, peaceful, respectful place and nothing gets broken or worse, stolen. But if you followed my previous tip and found the right people, you should be good. That should never happen. To help with scheduling or organizing the place, I recommend creating maybe a private Facebook group, or better yet, you can have a shared Google Calendar in which you block your times and you set repeating events so that your jam times are blocked, and that way there are no scheduling conflicts. Most importantly though, you need to figure out who pays what and who's responsible for delivering that rent money to the landlord. Whatever the arrangement is with your landlord, however it works, I think you need to find one person who's responsible for collecting that money and then delivering it. There are a lot of different variables here and a lot of different agreements with landlords and whatnot, but to give you an example, this place is under my name. It's my lease and I'm responsible for paying the rent. So I'm responsible for finding people who are down with practicing here, paying a certain amount, and then I have to transfer that money every month to the landlord. Now in terms of who pays what, you can probably figure that out by yourself. But if you need the advice, the way I have worked for many, many years is that you take the total amount that is due and then you split it by the amount of people. That way everyone is responsible for their own slice of the rent. Everyone is held accountable to pay the same amount every month. It's way easier to manage that way. All right, you found a spot, you found the right people, you figured out who jams when, who pays what. So what's next? Okay, figure out a layout that works for however many people jam in your jam space. For example, this place has 2 drum sets because there are 2 drummers here. Like I said, there are no actual bands that jam here, so we don't really care. We have the space, we're 2 drummers, he wanted his kit, I wanted my kit, and that way we're both very happy. No changes made to the hardware, to the cymbal heights, or nothing like that. But maybe your jam space has 2 bands, 3 bands, 4 bands. Heck, I've jammed in a spot where we were 5 bands. But I think the first thing you need to figure out is how many drum kits you can actually fit in there so that every drummer's happy, but it remains functional. I would recommend having 1 less drum set than there are drummers. Usually drummers are really chummy with each other, they know each other well, and they'll agree to share a drum or something like that. So figure out layout in terms of drums. Then I would say figure out bass amps. This place only has 1, it's mine, and I've given the okay to anyone who wants to use it to do so. Again, it might not be the same case in your situation, but usually bass players aren't as fussy as drummers, and chances are you're gonna get away with 1 bass amp and 1 bass cab. Next would be guitar amps. That's my guitar amp right there. My friend Seb has one down there. Ricardo has 2 amps over here. That shows you that in this jam space, we don't really share guitar amps. It's not because we don't want to, it's because we don't really need to. Guitar amps are a lot smaller, so they can easily be tucked under a desk or under a shelf, so we don't really need to share guitar amps in this place. We have enough space to do so. On top of that, we just like storing amps and stuff under desks and under shelves because, well, we're kind of clean freaks, but we also do it as a form of respect. Once we're done jamming, practicing, whatever it is we're doing, we like to pack up, put our things in the corner, and then let the other guys have a blank slate to do whatever they want, and then they do the same for us to then do that too. It's just a form of mutual respect. Okay, the next step is only if you want to be a fellow clean freak, and that is organizing. Let me show you how this place is organized. I'm gonna have to resolder that. I fixed it. Oh, shit. It's my shitty solder job. Okay, can you see this? Fancy shelving system. This is where you can store your band's merch, old amps, gig bags, microphones, camera equipment, amps, AC unit, whatever it is. What the? Anybody want old Bad Captain CDs? I have like 300 of those. They're free, message me. These wonderful cable hooks. Guitar cables or TRS cables, mic cables, also known as XLRs. I've got all that stuff right here, neatly organized and bundled up with these nice little cable organizers. Wanna see something cool? Not even looking. Nailed it. Come here, I'll show you more organizational stuff. This bin, it's got mics, tools, tape, extra light bulbs, this cool bullet mic, wine bottle opener, very important, and pedalboard tape, and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh, and this toolbox that has screws, screwdrivers, electrical tape, pliers, cutters, all kinds of fun stuff. Super useful. Another toolbox with straps and microphone clamps, jigaloo, because you need that sometimes, extra hooks and zip ties, extensions. Super useful. The point I'm trying to make is that I like organizing, and I think you should develop a liking for doing that too. in an environment like this one, it really helps if you're organized and the things you don't need are stored up in bins. The stuff you use every time you practice is readily available, ready for you to set up and tear down once you're done. Just start organizing. Okay, so professional organizing out of the way, I think the next thing you should figure out is a monitoring system. Chances are your band has a singer and you need to figure out how to hear their voice. In a context like this one, you have basically two options. You can go in-ear or full-blown monitors. I've always preferred the in-ear solution because it's a more controlled environment. What we like to do, what I've done for many years, is that we mic every single instrument, so drums, bass, guitars, and vocals. We route that in a console, and then that console goes out to a headphone amplifier. That headphone amplifier is then distributed to everyone's ears. It's a super controlled environment. Everybody's ears are protected and we can hear the vocals, bass, drums, and all that. If you want to take it one step further, you can throw that in a DAW and have a more elaborate system, have different mixes for all that stuff, but that is really far-fetched in my opinion. That is the in-ear option. If you want to get monitors, it's really simple. Get a pair of powered monitors, put that in the jam space, and sing through that. Chances are you don't really even need a console. Just make sure that you protect your ears. I can't stress this enough. Make sure that you protect your ears with either basic earplugs, better yet molded ones, or if you go in-ears, buy a nice pair of in-ears like Shure's, like 420s or something like that. Either way, find a good monitoring system. Man, it's really serious about that subject, eh?
Go ahead.
I'm done. It's good. I'm good, Siri.
I don't know what you mean by I'm gonna. It's good. I'm good, Siri. How about a web search for it?
I'm good. Thanks, Siri. It's okay, Siri. I'm good.
Wow.
Okay, so if we do a quick recap, you have found a spot, found good people to share it with, you figured out the boring stuff like rent and who jams when, you set up the place, you got cables all organized neatly, all the bins are stored, all that stuff, you're all set. But you need one more thing, and that is a place to procrastinate. I think having a couch or at least a comfortable place to sit in your jam space is really important. Sometimes you need to take breaks, you need to give your ears a rest, and you just need to sit down, chill for a bit, and talk with your bandmates about your band or life in general. I've been in jam spots that were way too small for a couch or anything comfortable to sit on, and I remember we always missed it. We were kind of just leaning against the wall or sitting on the floor, trying to take a break, and it was really hard to sort of take a breather and disconnect from the band for a second. Having a couch like this, or an old car seat, or an old sofa, whatever it is, to sit your butt on every now and then is a really important part of having a functional jam space. So hopefully with the tips I gave you, you have a better idea of how to find and set up your very own jam space. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this slightly different video where I move the camera around a bit more. I just wanted to show you what the jam space looks like, and I also wanted to move the camera around a little bit. If you did enjoy that, don't be afraid to leave a like on your way out. It's always appreciated. If you want to follow me or contact me, all my social links are in the description down below, along with more videos for you to watch from yours truly. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you next time. Got it. Only took 5 takes, but I got it. It's 11:30. Let's go home. Nailed it.